Okay, now we're looking at number 31 and question 32. We've missed 29 and 30. It's actually 29 and 30, so let's look at 29 and 30. So it says solve the following equations by factorization. So these are the two equations: x squared minus 5x plus 6. So x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0. And the other one is 2x squared plus 10x minus 48. 2x squared minus plus 10x minus 48. So it's plus 10x minus 48 equals 0. So let's start off with this one. This is 29. So here's what we do for this one. We say, what two numbers do you multiply to give you 6? So there's 6 here. And if you add the same two numbers, you get minus 5, which is this minus 5 here. And we do the same thing for this side. But, okay, let's wait, because this is a little bit different. Let's finish number 29 first. Let's do this. Let's divide this into 2. We can just do that. So, if you look at what numbers you multiply to give you 6, you're looking at the factors of 6, which is 1. 1 times 6 will give you 6. And 2 times 3 will give you 6. Okay, so those two can give you 6. But they can also add. So if you say 1 minus 5 minus 6, you get a minus 5. If you do minus 2 minus 3, you also get a minus 5. Okay, but if I put a minus 6 here multiplied by 1, if I put a minus 6 and multiply it by 1, a positive 1, I'm going to get a minus 6, and this is not a minus 6, which means I cannot use that. But I can use minus 2, minus 3, because that gives me minus 5. And if I multiply them, multiplying 2 minuses, that will give me a positive 6. So this is what I need. So I'm going to take this minus 2 and minus 3 and replace it here. So x squared minus 2x minus 3x plus 6 equals 0. So this minus 2x minus 3x is the same as minus 5x. Then I'm going to factorize, because there is a common x here, and x is common. So I'm going to do x and factorize that and get x minus 2 inside the bracket. If I multiply this back, I should get back x squared minus 2x. Then it's as though I have divided this into 2, into this side and this side. So the minus 3, I'm going to take the minus 3 now, which is this. And minus 3 I can factorize, because minus 3 can also go into 6. So this becomes x minus 2 equals 0. Now note that we now have an x minus 2 and an x minus 2. So I can actually factorize the x minus 2. So if I factorize the x minus 2, I'm left with what? I'm left with this x and this minus 3. Okay, so this becomes x minus 3 equals 0. So my two answers are x. In fact, here's what happens. If this is 0, then 0 times x minus 3 is 0. And if x minus 3 is 0, then 0 times x minus 2 is also 0. So I can take x minus 2 equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0, which means x equals 2, because the 2 will move over and become a plus, and the minus 3 moves over to become a plus 3. So this becomes x equals 3. So x equals 2 or x equals 3. So these are the two answers. Now let's look at this one. This one I was going to do them simultaneously, then I noticed there's a 2 here and there was a 1 there. So there was a 1 here, but there's a 2 here. So what we need to do is first of all multiply these 2 times this minus 48. So 2 times minus 48 is minus 96. So we're actually looking for factors of 96 instead of the factors of 48. Okay, so factors of 96, you can do 2 times 48. One of them is going to be a minus. You can do 3 times 32. You can do 4 times it goes once, and then the 16 is 4. 4 times 14. Or you can do 6, because 5 will not go in, it ends in 6. 6 times 1 here, and in 36 it's 6. So 6 times, there's something wrong. This should be 24, not 14. This should be 24, so 6 times 16, right? So 6 times 16 looks okay because I know that 16 minus 6 is 10, so it's going to give me the 10 in the middle, because what we want is two numbers that you multiply to give you minus 96, and two numbers that you add to give you 10. So I know that 16 minus 6 is 10. So it's going to be minus 6 times 16, which is minus 96 for me. Okay, so two numbers that you multiply to make minus 96 is minus 6 times 16 and 10. 16 minus 6. You add them, they'll give you the 10. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead again, like we did in the last one, and replace the 10. This should be 10x. Replace the 10x with 16x minus 6x. So it's gonna be 2x squared plus 16x minus 6x minus 48 equals 0. Okay, so let's do 2x here because it's common. Leaves us with x plus 8, and then minus 6 leaves us with x plus 8 again. Okay, because 6 goes into 48 8 times. So now we have x plus 8, which we can factorize, and we're left with 2x and minus 6. So it's going to be x plus 8 brackets 2x minus 6 equals 0, which means x plus 8 equals 0, or 2x minus 6 equals 0. That means 8 equals minus 8, because 8 is going to move over and become a minus 8, and 6x minus 6 becomes plus 6. So, or 2x equals 6, then I divide by 2 on both sides. The 2 cancels this side, x equals 3. So these are the two answers for the equation 2x squared plus 10x minus 48 equals 0. Right, so we've done 29 and 30. We've done this. So the next question is going to be 31 and 32. And we're going to solve these equations by completing the square. So there are several methods of solving equations. So one of them is just using the quadratic formula, which is this one here, and then factorization. And now we're going to look at completing the square in the next video.